Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be about the Hype House and all of the drama surrounding that, but I first just want to apologize for being so MIA on this channel. I've really tried to first think of content to even make. I don't like just trying to pull things and just try to make meaningless videos. I think one thing that I didn't like about drama channels that I used to watch was that they used to make drama videos on the dumbest things. Like sometimes I would just be like, why did you make a whole video on this? And I know that that was their job, so they had to keep it up, but I'm more about quality over quantity. And so if I don't feel like I want to make a video on something, I just won't, and so I won't force anything. But I wanted to make a video about the situation, and so that is why I am making a video about it. So yeah, before I do get into this video, please go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the drama. Alright, so before I get into it, I'm just going to go ahead and give you some background information. Now, honestly, I don't know much about the Hype House because I'm not into these influencer houses, and I've never been into like Team 10 or any of these like influencer houses. Honestly, I'm not really that into influencers, especially it's I don't know. I'm in college, man. Like I'm in a dorm. I guess that's my Hype House. Whoa, like cool. But yeah, it's just not my cup of tea. But anyways, the Hype House. Pretty much they're a bunch of like TikTokers mostly, and they all live in this house, this expensive house, and they make content all day and like live with each other. That's basically the whole premise of the house. In this picture to the far left, I think is Thomas, who basically runs the Hype House. You could say that he's like the Jake Paul of the Hype House, if you know anything about Team 10 and all of that mess. And they're just a bunch of teenagers making TikToks together and getting paid, and it's just a strange phenomenon that I think really we have to give Jake Paul credit. He spearheaded this type of thing. Thomas was actually in Team 10 at one point, but he was kicked out. But honestly, I don't think that these types of things work, considering what has happened in the other type of influencer houses that we've seen, like Team 10. Things have always gone south with people moving out and then making exposing videos and just really being upset with how everything went in the house. And so I was not surprised that the Hype House, I mean, it hasn't even been a thing for a full year, and there's already been drama. And I'm just gonna go ahead and give you my perspective about the drama and just kind of how I see it from someone who literally doesn't know who any of these people are, to be completely honest with you, and who really is just forming my opinion based off of the two videos that I've seen. So I think this is gonna be my least biased video so far. Hope you're happy with that. Okay, yeah, let's just go ahead and get into the first video that was put out, which was by Daisy Keech about the Hype House. All right, so Daisy Keech made a video about a week ago. Like a week ago, about the Hype House, and really about Thomas, who again runs the Hype House, who I would honestly say is the Jake Paul of the Hype House. Whether he wants to admit it or not, whether that makes him already seem like the bad guy or not, he is the Jake Paul of the Hype House. He runs the place. He's the one who controls it. Regardless of how he tries to twist it, he knows that he controls it. He said in his video that he controls it. Daisy said that he controls it. It just seems like he controls the house. I mean, it could be great for them, but Daisy disagreed. So she said that basically she and Thomas were friends, best friends. She kept emphasizing that they were best friends. He got kicked out of the Team 10 house, and so she basically gave him a job as her photographer, and just paid him and tried to help him out by giving him this job and giving him a source of income. And then he had this idea for a Hype House. She then put down $18,000 into the Hype House, which is a big chunk of change. And I I mean, for a 20-year-old to have 18, I don't know. I'm a broke college student, so I don't know how to gauge this, but like $18,000 is a lot of cash to have. Like to have in your savings. That's a lot of money. So props to Daisy for saving her money and having that much money to begin with. That's something to be proud of at 20 years old. But she ended up putting $18,000 down towards the down payment for the Hype House. The Hype House down payment altogether was $46,000. I think that was like the security deposit, I think first and last month's rent, something like that. But either way, it was $46,000 to even start renting the place, and she put down $18,000. So she had a share in this place. And then 3 other people put down money, and notably not Chris. I keep thinking that his name is Chris. His name is Thomas. Thomas put down $5,000. So another person put in $10,000, not $10,000, $18,000, and then another person put in $5,000, and Thomas put in $5,000 as well. So he has a significantly smaller portion of really the ownership of this place, whether he wants to admit it or not. Daisy had to put down that money. She goes on to say that Thomas basically started taking control of the house, telling them when they could do things, when they couldn't. He didn't give her credit for co-founding the place, and just doing a lot of controlling things. Honestly, she just was really talking about at first how he wasn't giving her credit, and then it turned into, and he's going behind our backs. He's not giving me access to the Instagram. He's not giving me access to the email. He's not letting me see brand deals. He started cutting me out of things. I started voicing my opinion, and he started cutting me out of more things. And then the next thing you know, she comes home and there's a music video being shot at her house, and people are in her room, which is a total invasion of privacy, if I do say so myself. I would never let that fly, especially because either way she's paying rent, so that's just not okay. She's paying for that space, and that space, she should be able to dictate what happens in that space. And so she's basically out of the Hype House, and I guess she just wanted to expose everything that was happening in the Hype House. Now, I have a few thoughts about this. First of all, everyone in this situation is extremely young. Let's be real here. Especially to be putting down that much money into something like this where you do not have a contract with the other people involved. And when you watch Thomas's video, he says he didn't want to sign a contract. He didn't want to do anything like that because apparently, he just wanted it to be chill or whatever. $18,000, when you're putting $18,000 into something, that is not chill. When you're putting $46,000 into a down payment to move in with people, and you're putting $5,000 of your own money, that is a large sum of money. Let's be honest here. At that point, it doesn't become, oh, we're just chilling with friends and we're just vibing and we're just making content and it's just gonna be cool. First of all, no. Okay. And it's a blunder on Daisy's part to not protect herself, because what can she really do other than make an exposing video? If she could really do something about this, she'd do something legally. That is the first issue. She should have gotten something in writing as far as a contract between the people living in the house. There should have been a contract, not just her name on the lease, because then it's just, oh, they're roommates. But if you're going into this thinking that you're putting $18,000 into a business, then you need to have a business. Like, you need to treat it as a business. And she made the mistake of letting him and letting things just go on without a contract, without having something legally binding. See, if she had gone to him and said, listen, I want a contract. I want to just make sure that I protect myself. We don't know who's going to be coming in here, and we just need to make sure that we protect ourselves. And he would have said no. That would have been the first red flag, and probably none of this would have happened. Or at least she would have been warned before that. She would have had more of an idea, and she would have protected herself a little more and been a little more cautious. But to think that you're 20, listen, 20 is still young, but to think that you're 20 and you don't at least think, okay, maybe I just need to have something in writing, because I'm putting $18,000 into something that is a business at the end of the day. And so I just think that that was a dumb mistake. She also emphasized a lot that, Thomas and another guy, I forget his name, but they wouldn't give her credit in interviews and things like that for being a co-founder, which is definitely sketchy. But at the same time, you have nothing in writing. You do not have a contract. I think this all goes back to that she doesn't have a contract, because I'm thinking of this as, okay, so are you getting paid from the Hype House? What is it financially? What is it monetarily? Then she said that she filed a trademark for it. So you're filing a trademark, and it's like, okay, but you don't have a contract with any of these people. So what is really the Hype House? Who really is the Hype House? Did you really specify that? That is very concerning and alarming. Now, what I will say is that I do believe that Thomas is definitely controlling in one way or another. I think that he took a lot from seeing and being in Team 10 and seeing Jake Paul work his magic, and he thought, you know what, I'm going to be the Jake Paul of this Hype House. I definitely believe that. Nothing that he can say, and nothing that really anyone can say, will, make me think differently, whether he wants to admit it or not. Now, is he as crazy and honestly evil as Jake Paul is? Probably not, but he definitely saw Jake Paul as the blueprint. It's clear as day. It's very, very obvious that he saw that man as the blueprint. And so a lot of things that Daisy was saying, I was like, I mean, it makes sense. I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, I know nothing about this dude, but knowing that he was in Team 10, after knowing everything that Jake Paul has done, after knowing everything that Team 10 has been through, it is a red flag. A lot of these things are red flags. And so I do think that Daisy was mostly telling the truth. I think that she was definitely trying to make herself look like a saint in a lot of situations, which I will get into when I talk about Thomas's video. But I generally believe that she's being truthful, especially when talking about Thomas, especially when talking about him being controlling. Now, was she dumb for not signing a contract and not demanding a contract and not demanding her share of the Hype House and not making sure that, her money was going to be right? Yes, for sure. But then again, she's 20 years old. She's not in school. So, there's just a lot of, it's a big blunder because she lost so much money. But at the same time, she's only 20 years old. So she definitely has time and time and time to learn. So, it is what it is. Now, for Thomas's video, surprise, surprise, he said that she's lying. He basically refuted all of her claims, sort of, not really. He actually proved some of her claims, which I will get into. But one thing that I found interesting about Thomas's video is that, one, it was posted on the Hype House channel, but no other Hype House members were in the video except for Thomas. He kept referring to other people and saying, this person will vouch for me and that person will vouch for me. And I asked everybody and they said this. So it's a lot of he said, she said, right? But for Thomas, he could easily have somebody on camera with him and be like, and at least confirm what he was saying. But what bothered me was that he didn't have anybody else in his video when he lives with these people. It's not as if he couldn't get in touch with them or he doesn't live with them or he was making this video spur of the moment in his room. He lives with them at the end of the day. So it's a strange thing to know that you have all of these witnesses right next door and you can't ask them to come and at least confirm what you're saying is true, especially because, an easy argument could be, well, he doesn't want to involve them. Well, when you put it on their communal group channel, you are involving them. Now everybody is involved. You're making all of these claims about how they voted her out of the house and just everything like that. And yet you don't have really anybody else to back up your claims. So I can't say that he's very reliable because he had the space and opportunity to have witnesses, and yet he didn't. Another reason why I just feel like Thomas isn't being as honest as Daisy was being was because he nitpicked her story instead of just refuting the big parts of her story, if that makes sense. So he's the type of person where if he can't really disprove what you're saying, he is going to go for the smallest, most minute detail, like the things that don't matter. Like, you could say this happened on a Monday. No, it happened on a Tuesday. You're a liar. Or I think it was a Monday. No, it was a Wednesday. Like, come on, dude. Seriously, that's what you're going to nitpick. So he went around a lot of details. Like, for example, he said, oh, Daisy didn't pay me for like a long time, and she only paid me in September, and she only paid me this amount and that amount. And it's like, dude, first of all, she never claimed to pay you more than that. She never said a specific amount, nor did she say a specific day or timeline or whatever. So for him to try to disprove what she was saying by giving details that she never gave, like, it just didn't make sense. It was really just him trying to make it seem like he was more credible by giving more details. And that's not really how you win credibility when you're trying to disprove someone else's argument, is by just giving minute details that do not matter. Another huge thing was when he was talking about the night that they had the deposit for the money. I mean, not for the money, deposit for the money, deposit for the hype house. He said that, first of all, you know, Daisy talked about how like there was so much money that they made a TikTok with the money because it was like a lot of money. It was $46,000 in cash. And so they made a TikTok, and Thomas was like, wait, that was like my money and like Chase's money. And I'm like, dude, really? Are you serious right now? You're seriously trying to, like, dude, what? Like, that's what you're going to talk about? That's what you're going to harp on, is whose money was in the TikTok? Like, dude, seriously, stop. Like, that was when I was like, you're losing credibility because of what he was trying to pick apart. He then went on to say that basically Bryce, I think that's his name, and Thomas had to cover for Daisy because she didn't have the money yet. And so I guess Thomas put down $10,000. I'm pretty sure Thomas actually put down $10,000, and then Daisy reimbursed him $5,000, which he proved. He showed that she reimbursed him $5,000, and then he showed that Daisy reimbursed Bryce $12,000 to $13,000. I think it was like a little less than $5,000 for Thomas, and I think a little more than $12,000 for Bryce. But roughly she paid them both back $18,000. So she did put down $18,000 at the end of the day. So Thomas was trying to say that he did not only put down $5,000. And that is a clear inconsistency, because whether you put up the money for Daisy or not, you still got reimbursed $5,000. She didn't. So she didn't get reimbursed the $18,000 that she put up. So you got reimbursed half of the $10,000 that you originally put up because you were covering for Daisy. So altogether, Thomas, you put up $5,000. She's not lying about that. All you did was prove that in a roundabout way. All you did was prove that by trying to act like your audience is dumb. And I don't like that. He was really trying to manipulate the audience with that one. And I was going through the comments because I'm like, wait, am I missing something? After the video, I was going through the comments, and a lot of people were like, dude, you literally just proved Daisy's point. He also went on to talk about the interviews that Daisy was talking about and how they didn't give her credit for being a co-founder. And he was like, well, we didn't say that she wasn't a co-founder. And I'm like, okay, all right. Here's my thing. In that situation, I think that they're both wrong in a sense, because I think that Daisy is reading too much into the whole them not giving her credit thing. I do think that they, like, when you really feel like you co-founded something with someone, you're always going to bring up their name because you really put in effort with them. But it's obvious to me, at least, that they didn't really see her as a co-founder. But at the same time, if they're not taking all of the credit, if they're not saying that they're the only founders, then you really can't be as upset with them. I don't know. I just felt like that situation wasn't as bad as the other ones. Really, what was the worst part was the fact that they didn't have a contract. And Thomas said himself that he didn't want a contract. And like I said earlier, I find that fishy. That was when I was like, oh, you're a shady character. Because why wouldn't you want to have a contract with something that you knew was going to be a business and everything like that? He also said that Daisy didn't put money into the Hype House itself. She put money into the rent for the place. And I'm like, dude, no, that's money into the business. But then again, they don't have a contract. Thomas was smart about that. They didn't have a contract. He's conniving about that. And so he can say, well, your money isn't going to that, it's going to this. And just kind of play mind games with her and games with her money. He also said that she filed a trademark in her name rather than the Hype House. I think that she just probably didn't know how to do a trademark, but that was fishy for me too. I was like, why is it just in her name? If she's so concerned about being left out of things, why did she file a trademark with only her name on it? That was strange. But then also she might have thought, since I'm the person filing the trademark, I just put my name. But then he filed a trademark for the Hype House itself, but I'm like, you guys aren't a corporation, are you? If you're a corporation or you're an organization or whatever, it's different. But again, you don't have contracts. Who's part of the Hype House? It could just be Thomas himself. Who knows? Nobody has a contract, right? He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. Because when he said he didn't want to have a contract, that stood out to me. Because why don't you want to have a contract? You know that this is going to be a business. That was my main thing. I just feel like that was so sketch. And then he had inconsistencies, especially with the music video story. He said that, Daisy hadn't been in the house for months, but then, or at least weeks, but then after the music video, they voted to kick her out of the Hype House. Which one is it? It doesn't make sense. And also you can't vote to kick somebody out when they put up $18,000 towards your security deposit. So yeah, I just feel like he's shadier than Daisy. Do I think that Daisy kind of did some shady things? Probably. She probably manipulated the story a little bit to make herself look better. Especially, some of the things that she said that he said about her were a little sketch. But do I think that he's trying to run that house like Jake Paul runs the Team 10 house? Heck yes. What this really boils down to is that these influencer houses are dumb decisions when they're not ran properly by professionals. When you think about it, the reason why none of these houses work out, the reason why there's always problems is because they're ran by 20-year-olds. Do you think that it's going to go well? No, it's not going to go well. People are going to get messed over. Let's be honest here. I think it should have been clear to Daisy that once he was like, no, I don't want to do a contract. No, I don't want to, at least give people positions in this company, business, whatever. Once she found that out, she should have taken her money and ran. She should have tried to do whatever she had to do, tried to get a contract, do whatever she had to do to make sure that she didn't just lose out on $18,000. Come on, dude. That is crazy that he didn't want a contract. And everybody who's living in that house, if you're not living under a contract, you need to run, because he is going to run you. But then at the same time, some of these kids are literally 15 years old. 15 years old, part of this company group thing that's run by a 21-year-old. Are you kidding? Are you dumb? I can't believe their parents are even letting them do this. I mean, most of them are probably 18, but my parents would be like, are you an idiot? It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Especially because they have no real structure. There's no structure in that house. And I think that this just goes to show that these influencers are not business savvy. Let's be honest here. We give them too much credit. We give them way too much credit. Just because you follow someone because you like how they do the grenade, not what it's not grenade. It's not the dance. The renegade dance. Just because they do the renegade dance nicely doesn't mean that they're business savvy or that they know anything. Because I promise you, Thomas is probably taking money off the top. Because I know that the Hype House is making way more money than what he's leading on. I promise you. Because that thing is already big. And they have the biggest TikTokers. Charlie D'Amelio is part of the Hype House thing. Like, come on. I know for a fact they're making more money than what he's leading on. But they'll never know. Why? Because they have no structure. They have, like, who's their accountant? Who's doing this for them? Oh, it's all Thomas. He controls everything. I wouldn't be okay with that. And I don't think that other people in the Hype House are, especially because they're not, you know, over here just completely vouching for him in the video. They weren't in the video with him, or at least making their own video about Daisy and trying to vouch for their friend. No, they're pretty much all staying silent, and unless I missed something on Instagram or Twitter. I just think that the whole idea of a whole bunch of teenagers living in a house together, trying to make it a business, is idiotic. I already think that a whole bunch of teenagers living in a mansion together is idiotic, but throw in and making money, it's idiotic if they don't have structure, if they don't have someone telling them to do what to do. It seriously, because they're not adults. A lot of them aren't adults, or if they are, they're young adults, young, and they don't know a lot. So they could easily lose out on a lot of money that they could have had because they thought that this was a fun idea and a cool idea, but they're not being realistic, I don't think. And so I think that Thomas is manipulating a lot of this, in my opinion. Now, I could be wrong. He could be totally innocent, but I don't believe that, especially with how he tried to twist the narrative, but his evidence wasn't twisting with him. Well, that is it for me, guys. Please enjoy this obligatory Tom Holland picture as I close out. But thank you so much for watching this video. What do you guys think about the Hype House? Like, who do you think is telling the truth? Honestly, it really could go both ways. Either way, both of them could be liars. Both of them could be telling partial truths. I think that they're both telling partial truths, honestly. But what do you think? Who's more right? Who's more wrong? Who's the victim? Who's the evil perpetrator? You know, go ahead and comment your thoughts down below, and please do subscribe to my channel. I really want to continue to make content on this channel and just try to, you know, make it as active as I possibly can. But I also just want you to know that I am not just going to throw a video out to you that I don't believe in or that I don't think is interesting. So just know that if you're gonna stick around, that you're not just going to get trash content, or at least you're not going to get content that I don't believe in, that I'm just trying to post just to post. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're staying healthy and being okay. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye.